guys, welcome back. So today we're going to work on a big advanced back bend. So this back bend is called Viparita Dandasana, and the lovely Nicole is going to be my demo. So I want you to think about this shape, the shape that you're going to do with your arms. Let's reach the arms up for a moment, Nicole. Bend the elbows, get your elbows in line with your shoulders and interlace your fingers behind your head, but keep your hands in line with your elbows. This is the shape you're going to create on the crown of your head. This is also headstand, Shirshasana A, and it's also working one side of Gomukasana, yeah, that shoulder opener. So this could be a good way of prepping your chest for the posture. Now, when you go up into the posture, you can see she's very mobile. She might need to find a little bit more containment, but that mobility is going to help her actually access the pose. If you're someone with a really tight chest, this might be a little bit too much for you today, so work into one of my other videos like Urdhva Dhanurasana, maybe working Dhanurasana, laying on your tummy. As you hug the outer upper arms into the midline, this will really help you to engage your triceps, but also think about your shoulder blades spinning and fanning on your back. Let's wrap those arms up a little bit more, but soften the shoulders. So now we're going to start to move into what the actual shape looks like. But we want to think elbows, shoulders in line. The elbows can splay a lot. This can put a lot of pressure around your neck, yeah? And really start to get into those tiny muscles that are there to stabilize your shoulder girdle. Okay, so let's have you come lay down on your back. As Nicole comes and lays on her back, she's setting up for bridge pose. So she's going to bring the knees and the ankles in line. So actually we're going to bring those heels out just a little bit more, right there. Then she's going to ground those heels down. Just like my Urdhva Dhanurasana video, the knees can go forward. Think about shins moving into the calves as you start to move into the posture so you can start to engage your hamstrings and rooting of the tailbone out of the lower back. Now, from here, Nicole is going to take her arms up and overhead. As she takes the arms up and overhead, just like we established, elbows and wrists in line. Then, from here, she's going to do this on the exhale to connect with the belly. She's going to root the tail, grounding the heels down. She's going to lift up onto the very crown of her head. Good. Then she's going to draw the elbows in and lift the shoulder heads up, plugging the arm bones back into the socket. Nicely done. Now, from here, she's going to lower onto the forearms. As she brings the forearms down, good, she starts to interlace her fingers. And as she interlaces her fingers, the elbows want to splay, she's going to hug them in. So again, elbows, shoulders in line. Then she's going to step her feet in just a little bit more, right there. Good. She's going to root the tailbone out of the lower back. And feeling the pelvis move forward as it rises, she's going to begin to press down to rise up. Inner shoulders long. Now she's going to lift her head up off the mat. As she lifts the head up off the mat, instead of stretching the throat, she's actually going to look up and gaze at her sternum. Good. And this will help her to really lift up out of her shoulders. Then once she finds that alignment, that lengthening from the tailbone, giving weight more to the legs, mounts the feet down the coat just a little bit more. Then she might gaze up and start to lengthen through her throat and feeling the back bend in the upper thoracic. Now she's digging her elbows into the mat. I'm going to start to move and work her legs a little bit more. Let's bring the chin in slightly for this. Good. She's going to start to shift the tailbone. Yes. Out of the lower back, so she's not too dominant in her lower back. She's got a big back bend. She doesn't need too much space here. She's going to root. Then she's going to roll the inner groins down. Good. And she's going to feel this opening deep in the thick of her back. Now, Nicole's type of body, she can actually walk her legs out a little bit more. So she walks her legs out. Now she's engaging those hip flexors and lifting them up. But then she's really hugging the outer ankles in. That's the work. Rooting from her tailbone, and you can see this big back bend in the upper thoracic, not from the lower back. Then to come out, she's going to rebend her knees and walk her feet in. Good girl. Then she's going to roll those inner groins down and keep these glutes stabilizing her pelvis. And then as she works here, she's very slowly, neck long, all four sides, going to lower the crown of the head back down and then bring her hands into chaturanga. So that means she's going to lift back into the hands, bring the elbows and shoulders in line, shoulder heads up, and now she's going to straighten her arms and move into Urdhva Dhanurasana. Wrapping of the outer upper arms. As she sends the biceps towards her ears, same work here, we notice the toes can turn out. This happens. And it just disengages the inner groins a little bit. So we want to really think about feet parallel to each other. Mounds of the big toes pressing down, energy drawing up the legs as you pin the outer hips in, the navel moving to the sternum. Then pressing of the hands down, inner shoulders up, good. And we could actually move back just a little bit more right there. So we start to give the work to her legs. Then to lower down, she's going to lower the crown all the way down, and at the last moment, chin to chest, she lowers with control. Good. Hugs her knees into her chest. Without opening externally or internally, she's just going to release her sacrum down towards the mat. All right, so take your time with that back bend, right? It's a very, very advanced posture. So find the stages. You might not be ready for it. You can work in components without even going into the pose, like stretching your hip flexors, like working your shoulders. And then maybe anatomically you might feel like your body is ready for it, but think the back bend is in your upper thoracic and out of the lower back. So you've got to give the legs a lot of energy and really find that energy that starts from your feet. Hope that was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. See you down the yoga road.